Hey folks, welcome back to Good Enough Customs. So this week, again, should be working on Steve, but yeah, we're not. Actually, I'm not working on anything this week. Today's Sunday. I was just, flat exhausted yesterday. So I took the day, chilled out, took a couple naps, turned out pretty good. I'm much more rested. But then today I had a bunch of stuff to do and just no time to get out here in the shop. So as far as Steve is concerned, we're still in the same spot we were. I still need to finish up that little patch over there on that back part of the hump. We still got to spot weld in the front portion of the floor pan to the kick panels on both sides. That side seemed to be pretty flush. This side over here, there's a gap, pretty significant gap, so I've got to figure out what I need to do there. About closing the gap up, I'm not sure if it's the truck sprung or where I was working getting the floor in, if it bowed a little bit. So there's a little bit of work to do there. But don't worry, folks. I'm going to get back on Steve very soon. It's not going to turn into, the K5 where it just sits there and, becomes, it becomes part storage. It's the way it works. It's a flat surface. It's in a shop. It's going to get crap stacked on top of it. So, but yeah, Steve's not going to become, it's not going to become the K5 where I just kind of get, I'm done with it and walk away. I'm not doing that with Steve. I'm going to continue working on Steve, and I will continue working on the K5. That's going to come up here shortly. If I can get Steve back on the road. As soon as I get that back on the road, I think I was going to do the motor swap in Little John and then back on the K5 and try to get that guy kind of lined out, ready to go. I know Jackson wants to drive it to prom. That may happen. I told him that probably would happen. That shouldn't be a problem. It may not be done, but it'll be done enough. So yeah, we're going to aim for that. But I am not suffering from a project burnout. I'm basically suffering from a life burnout. Does that make sense? Typically, about middle of November, the company I work for, we usually kind of idle down. We don't do new installations and upgrades and all this other fun stuff. We generally just kind of maintain, fix problems as they arise, and we're basically firemen. We're only called if needed. And then we also just kind of work on some documentation and cleaning some stuff up. That's generally what this time of year turns into. This year is not the case. This year we are full steam ahead and we are plugging away. So that makes getting out here during the week a little bit difficult because, I'll be frank with y'all. During the week I get off work. My job is it's not a physically demanding job by any stretch. But mentally it is a draining job. So, a lot of days I come home from work, man, I am flat. My brain is it's ready to shut off. I really don't want to come out here and think on, I need to fix this. How do I do this? All that fun stuff. I want to shut my brain off. So I usually just sit, watch some TV, zone out, take a nap, eat some dinner and go to bed. So that's generally my Monday through, sometimes Friday. It gets to be a bit much. And then, I'm working a full-time job and then I'm coming out here on Saturdays working, 10, 12, 14 hours on a Saturday. And then on Sunday, I'm putting in, I don't know, depends on how long the video is. Could be 4 or 5 hours, could be 6, 8, 10 hours. Just depends on how the recording went. So, there's not a whole lot of days off whenever you're trying to do YouTube as a side gig. It's pretty exhausting. So, I took yesterday, just chilled, didn't do a whole lot. I know I haven't done a whole lot of work out here. It's been like a month, I think, since I've actually touched Steve. It's been a lot going on. Went down to cruising the coast, hung out with mom and dad, worked on dad's old 39 Pontiac, getting that guy running, which was, super cool. Then we did, what did we do after that? We did trucking the trace, going down the Natchez Trace down to Tupelo, which was and is always a fantastic time. It's a gorgeous trip down through there. It's a lot of fun getting with a lot of like-minded individuals. You know, we all like the C10s, we all like the trucks, and all like hot rods, all that fun stuff. So, you know, it's a lot of fun getting out with a bunch of just like-minded individuals and cruising down, you know, 4 or 5 hours down a Natchez Trace, and then hanging out for basically a solid day and a half, hanging out with them, you know, eating good food and, you know, just having a really good time. So, you know, that was most of October, was trips to and from, and then recovering from trips. And, you know, now here we are midway through November, and Steve is still in the same state he was at the beginning of October. So now the good thing is I do have a week off coming up. I think I took off the week of Thanksgiving. So, so I've got a week off coming up, and that's, you know, with the exception of Thanksgiving, I plan on being out here every day working on Steve, trying to really plug away and get a whole lot of stuff done. So, so that's what the plan is. As long as I don't get sick or something, that's what I plan on doing. So that's just kind of where we're at right now. You know, I apologize. This video is pretty much just you know, hey, don't worry, I didn't die. Don't worry, I'm not burned out. I know project burnout is a big thing, and it does happen. I was teetering with Steve. You know, I don't enjoy doing the floors, folks. I don't know if that shouldn't be a secret. I don't enjoy doing it. It's one of the worst jobs, you know. I know folks that like doing it. I'd rather not. But it needed it so bad that I had to do it. Yeah, I don't care for the floors, but you know, I'll do it if I have to. But I was teetering on the edge of, you know, kind of burning myself out, you know, out here plugging away, cutting metal and, you know, welding stuff and fitting and doing. I just not a huge fan of it. That's exactly what happened with that truck. You know, I flat burned myself out. And to be honest, if that wasn't Jackson's truck and, you know, he didn't want me to fix it and I didn't start the project, I probably would have sold that truck by now, to be honest with you. I'm over it. I just don't care for it. But I'm not going to sell the K5. I'm going to keep working on that. Like I said, that's Jackson's truck. That's not mine. So I'm going to keep working on that guy, try to get it done. But, yeah, like I said, we'll get back on that guy here shortly. Yeah, probably after the first of the year, we'll get plugging away on that one. But yeah, I'd much rather just do the mechanics side of it. I enjoy that. I enjoy the suspension side. Just the metal work and the body work, I could do it. I don't do it very great. I don't do it, you know, fantastic or nothing, but, you know, I get it done. But I don't enjoy it. Anyhow, rant over, I suppose. So I guess what I'm saying is, don't worry, folks. I'm still plugging away, doing stuff. I'm just not doing stuff here in the shop right now. But I will be back out here. Like I said, I'll probably be back out here next weekend to do some work. And then that following week I'm off the entire week. So that ought to be a time to really get some stuff done. I would hope by the end of the week of Thanksgiving, I would have the floors done, the rockers done, and be ready to get rocking on this firewall and get this firewall going. Speaking of the firewall, I'm not 100% sure exactly what I want to do. I know what I'm going to do over there. I've got the blank panels, which are right there. I've got that, and they're B-rolled. You know, that side I was just going to do that. It's going to block off. I'm not even going to worry about HVAC. Nothing along those lines over there. Eventually, I do want to put like a vintage air system on here, but with that, I can just drill the holes and do the little, you know, the nice little cover and stuff like that. That's fine. I can drill a hole in a fresh, clean thing. But for now, I don't have the money for it, so I'm not going to worry about it. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure exactly, you know, that side, that's easy. I've got that part's already figured out. No big deal there. This part, I've got that other firewall outside for this part and over here on the cowl, this section of the cowl, and then this piece of the firewall. Probably going to have to scab off of the old firewall I got out back. But then we get over to this area, and this is where we're going to open up a can of worms. This is rusty enough. I mean, you can see there's significant amount that goes up behind the brace here for the master cylinder and the steering column, all that stuff. There's enough rust here to make me want to go ahead and put the other panel in. But then we've got a couple other problems that I've got to figure out. One is, if I'm going to put that smooth panel on here, I'm not going to use this. This ugly brace, I don't like it. It's not something I really want to, continue using if I'm going to put a nice smooth panel on here. Why ugly it back up? You know what I mean? So I have to kind of figure out what I want to do. I remember seeing a guy on Instagram that he put a piece, I think it was like 3/16 steel on the back, and tacked it in place, or spot welded it in place on the back on the inside, with the holes and everything ready to go for the master cylinder and for the steering. Of course, the steering would be a little bit different setup here. So I don't know how big a can of worms I'm going to open up here. If I go with the smoothed out panel, do I need to upgrade my steering column? I mean, I'm totally fine with that. I like the factory style column, but if I can't use that with a different type of hole, then I don't know enough here. So do I need another column? Don't know. Master cylinder and a brake. Well, I don't have a brake booster. This is a manual brake truck, but do I go ahead and upgrade it to power brakes and go ahead and put a brake booster in? If I do that, what do I use? Do I use like CPP? I don't think I have a Willwood, or definitely don't have a Bear budget, but it brings up a lot of questions here. Do I go ahead and upgrade this guy to the power brakes, or do I put Hydro Boost on it? I could do Hydro Boost and change, do the Hydro Boost off the front of the thing, running off the power steering pump, and do Hydro Boost brakes. I don't know. So this is where you start running into the I'm not sure and I don't want to have to do things twice type discussion in your mind. I'm not sure exactly the best way to go about that. But again, I don't want to do it twice. So that's kind of where I am with the firewall right now. There's a lot of unknowns, specifically over here on the driver's side. Also, the factory wiring harness on this truck's okay. It's not in bad shape, but there's the hole for it. Do I put a new hole here and put a new wiring harness there? Or do I hide the wiring harness somewhere coming off the floor pan, and then tuck it and, dress it up real nice to where you pop the hood and you literally see, engine, almost a completely smooth firewall with the, minus the brake booster and the steering. I'll have brand new fender wells in here, probably put a new radiator in it, and then where do you stop? You know what I mean? Where do you stop? Or do I kind of bastardize it and use parts of that panel on here and just kind of keep it somewhat factory? I don't know. So these are some of the, hey, if y'all guys got some opinions on that, be sure and, drop it down below. I'm open to opinions and options here. I don't know what route I want to go specifically here on the driver's side of the firewall. The other side of that too is, I'm not the best welder. I'm not the best fabricator. How proud do I want to be of everything? This hides a lot of really poor work. This isn't Perfection Customs here. This is good enough. So, that sometimes doesn't translate into the best looking thing in the world. But, I don't know. If y'all guys got some opinions on it, drop it down below. I'm just, where do I keep going from here? Do I just go through and put, smooth firewall, go ahead and do the brake upgrade? Not that I absolutely need it, but it'd be nice to have some upgraded brakes, as opposed to the manuals. I don't know. I'm floating around here. I'm not sure. So drop some opinions down below. It's kind of where we're at right now. So floors, they'll be done here for long. Rocker panels will follow. The passenger cab corner, I thought I saw some Bondo back there, so it may have been patched. So I'll check that. I've got cab corners, I've got rockers, I've got, you know, all sorts of, you know, replacement metal parts for these trucks. So, you know, if I need to, I've got it. But, God, I hope not. But, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So, next stop on Steve is finishing up the floors, doing the rockers, and then we'll get started on the firewall, which we'll probably start over here because this one's the easy one. And this is, I got to think, there's a lot going on here. And then for, you know, this section, this is just going to be basically factory-ish. Crook brought up a good point. I kind of hate him for this because I think I'm going one direction, and then he makes a suggestion. I'm like, damn it, that's a good idea. You know, so he made a point. He was like, well, you know, you're already in it this far. What happens if you, you know, recess that back a little bit further, just right in there, just recess the trans tunnel and everything back just a little bit, you know, a couple inches. You know, that'll allow you to move the motor back a couple inches and kind of get your center of gravity kind of, you know. I don't think I'm going to do that, but it makes a valid point. This is not going to be a race truck. This is kind of shop truck, cruise truck, you know, have a good time in truck. So I don't plan on it being a race truck. If I want to build a race truck, I'll buy something and make that a race truck. So anyhow, that's kind of where we are with everything. Y'all guys, if you got any ideas or whatever, drop them down there below in the comments. I do read through them all and typically respond. So anyways, if y'all guys like the video, be sure to hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe. There'll be a whole lot more coming up on Steve. If you want to see more of Steve, just look up. If I can remember, I'll throw a playlist thing up here, or I'll just list it down below. But I have a playlist set up for all the different project trucks that I've got. You know, Steve, Little John, Big John, Jackson's truck, Harvey Dent. I believe there's one on the K5. The K5 stuff, that was when I first started doing the YouTube thing. So those episodes are a little long and they're a little slow. So I do plan on actually taking those and kind of condensing them down eventually. Once I get this truck, you know, once I get the K5 done, I was going to condense them down and make it like a 1 hour and 30 minute long video of just the K5 from when we got it till it's done. So anyhow, I do appreciate y'all guys watching, and look forward to seeing y'all guys next week. And just remember, folks, ain't got to be perfect, just good enough. And we will talk to y'all later.